Welcome to Module 5. This is formatting worksheets. We'll be looking at formatting with font and colour, formatting numbers, dates and times, copying and pasting formatting. We'll be adjusting column widths and row heights. We'll be aligning cell contents, indenting and rotating cell contents, merging cells, adding borders, colours and shading, using styles and using document themes. Here's the agency's spreadsheet, which you'll recognise from earlier exercises, except there's one big difference here. There's no formatting. There's no bold, italic or underline, no colours, no sizes. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply different types of formatting to this worksheet, and I may work with some of the other sheets as well to show you different types of formatting that can't be applied to this particular worksheet. Most people will recognise bold, italic and underline. Three of the most common attributes you can apply to a font. Let's just say I'm going to make my column headings bold. Now I could decide just to select the column headings here in row 1 and make all of those bold, like so. Notice the keyboard shortcut for this is Ctrl and B. That makes them bold, but if I was to add another heading over here in H1, this would not be bold. To apply bold formatting or any formatting to a whole row, we need to select the whole row. Now already it shows that it's bold, although we do know that H1 is not actually bold, but if I click the bold twice, now anything I type in row 1 will be bold. The same would apply for italic. Let's just select this row again and I'll click the I. Notice that the keyboard shortcut for this is Ctrl and I. Click that and now I have headings which are bold and italic. Similarly, I can also apply underlining, and guess what the keyboard shortcut for that is? Yes, Ctrl and U. So I'll just underline these. I don't actually like that formatting myself, but I'll take it out, but that's how you do it. Okay. I could also decide with this particular row that I want to make the font size larger or even change it to a different font. At the moment we can see here that the font size is 11. If I click the down arrow and say let's go to 14. I could also change the font from Calibri to a font like Arial or Tahoma. To find Tahoma, I can either scroll down the scroll bar at the bottom here, and I'll get to it at the bottom here. There's Tahoma there, or I could just actually type in the word Tahoma and then hit return. You'll notice that some of the words are broken up. That's because our font size is too large now. For example, here in C1, so I just need to widen the column to accommodate that. And it's also happening in G1, so I'll just widen that column too. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the cities here, starting with Edinburgh and down to Prague. Okay, I could make them bold, for example. I could change the font size slightly. I'm just going to increase it to 12. I have options here to increase the font size as well. Okay, I could make them italic or underline, although I'm not going to. There's even a double underline as well that you could use. Here we've got borders. We'll look at those in a moment. Here we have theme colors. We'll look at those too. And here we have the font color. I'm actually going to change the font color for the cities to a blue. Whenever I hold my mouse over the particular color, you can see a preview of how it's going to look. So perhaps my blue is a little bit too light there. I'll just make it slightly darker. I could also go into more colors, and I've got a wide spectrum of colors I could use from here, and even create my own custom color if I wish to. I'll just stick with the blue, so I'll just go back there and click on the blue square. Also, within the ribbon on the font tab, we have the font dialog box. Okay, this is part of the format cells dialog box, which we'll be looking at in more detail as well. But here you could change font for selected cells, change the style, italic bold, bold italic, or the size, change the color here, change the underline effect. Strike through just means that the words would have a line going through them. Superscript means where the numbers are on a higher level than the remaining numbers. For example, a date, for example the 15th, the TH would be superscript, and subscript would be the opposite, where the character is below the line. For example, H2O, the 2 would be subscript. Okay, I'm not going to do anything with that at the moment, just showing the font dialog box. Okay, now we're going to have a look at formatting numbers. I'm just going to go to the average contracts here. You can see that they are at 1 decimal place at the moment. I'll just scroll down and select them. If I go up to number here on my ribbon, I've got various number formats I could choose. Just give you a moment to look at those. I also have an accounting number format, whereby I could put a euro or a dollar or a pound sign in front of the values. I could make them percentages as well. I could use a thousand separator, that's where you'd have 1,000. Or I can increase or decrease the decimal. If I was to increase the decimal for these, I'll get 2 decimal places, and so on. I'll just bring that back to 1. Because the number has its own dialog box. This is part of the format cells that we were looking at the moment. And there are more options you can do from here. You can choose the category. We're dealing with numbers, but there are other types of categories. And at the moment it's set at 1 decimal place. I'll just increase that to 2. And I could use a thousand separator, except as you can see here, I have nothing above 56. I'll just go OK to that to give it 2 decimal places. Excel will round up decimal places. So for example, if you change the first one here to 56.6, it would actually turn it into 56.7, and with this one it would go to 53.3. I'll just demonstrate that by selecting those. It rounds up above 5 and rounds down below 5, so I'll just decrease the decimal and it just rounds it up. Okay, I've just switched worksheet here from sheet 1 to sheet 2, as you can see down the bottom here, just to demonstrate date format. I've typed in a date here, the 21st of June 2014. Okay, I can change that back to a number if I wish to, but I'm working on a date format, so I can either go more number formats, which takes me to my format cells dialog box. I could have also right clicked on the cell and gone down to format cells. Okay, we're still dealing with numbers. I'll just move that in the center there. We're still dealing with numbers, but it's a date. But I have options on how I want to show the date. So for example, if I chose that option, we can see here a sample, it would show 21st of June as a word, 2014. Or I could choose to have the date showing that way. And there are other formats we could use here. We'll just see how this one looks. 21st of June 2014, I'll just go OK to that. and that's changed the date format for me. That's actually a long date, known as a long date, and I'll just go back to format cells there and show you that this would be a short date. Let's go OK to that. That's the short date format. Okay, in cell B2 here I've typed in the time 12 o'clock midday. I'll just select that cell, and this is going to be a time format. Again, I could right click or go up to the number format on the ribbon there. Let's go to format cells this way though. Okay, we have time here, and doesn't seem to be much we can do with the times here. They all seem to be the same. But if we go down to custom here at the bottom, I can choose various options for my date format here. I already have it as hours, minutes and seconds. Okay, if I just scroll back up here, I can reduce it just to hours and minutes, and you can see it's giving me a sample up here, and I could even put AM or PM after it, and we'll just go OK to that. And if I wanted to change the time slightly, let's just say 5 minutes past. Okay, just hit return, and that becomes 12:05 PM. Okay, now we're going to look at copying formatting, so I'm just going to go back to sheet 1 here. Okay, I'm just going to do a little bit more with these cities here. Okay, I'll just select them. They're bold already, they're Calibri size 12. I could give them a fill color as well. Let's do that. Let's get a light color, light blue, that will do. Okay, so that's the formatting for those cells. Now I'm going to right click and copy. I could have used the keyboard shortcut Control C, or I could have gone up to here. And I want to apply this formatting to our total contract values over here in column G. So I'll either go up to paste at the top here, probably quicker just to right click, and now I have my paste options, and I just want to run along here and just go to formatting. And now what that's done is applied the formatting from those cells in column A and applied them to the cells in column G. Very useful tool. I'll just show you one more like that. Let's say we'll take the city here, make the font size larger, let's just say 20. We'll make the color of it, let's make it stand out, red. We'll give it some fill color. That's about right. So I'll just copy that by right clicking, copy, and I'll apply it just to this one cell here. So I'll click into that one cell there, right click, and run along my paste options here, and you see the tips are running along the bottom here, and it's formatting that I want. Okay, and I'm just going to need to widen the column slightly to allow the text there. I could also still now reduce the font size on that, bring it down to say 16 so it fits into the cell. A very useful tool for copying the formatting is the Format Painter. I'm just going to select a couple of cells here and change the formatting. I'll make these bold, I'll make them size 14, I'll change the font color to orange, and I could also add some shading here. That kind of works. Oh no. Takes a while to experiment. Okay, that's better. Okay, now I go up to Format Painter. Click on Format Painter. Notice now that my icon has got a little brush added onto it. So I'll left click the cells I want to apply this formatting to. Just run across. If as far as cell H1, let go, and there it's copied the formatting that way. If I wanted to clear the formatting from particular cells or even the whole worksheet, I can select the whole worksheet by clicking up here, top left hand corner, or I could have just selected the areas that I want to cover, and then I go up to the clear on the editing tab on the ribbon here, hit the down arrow and go clear formats, and that brings me everything back to default. I think it was better the way it was, don't you? So I'll just go Control Z to undo that and bring it back to where it was, and deselect, and that's clearing the formatting. Now, we've already seen a few times how to adjust the column width. Quite simply, you just put your mouse between the two columns that you want to make wider or more narrow, left click and drag them whichever way you want to go. Notice that it's showing the width at the top here. Okay, I can also select the column, right click and go to column width. At the moment it's 17.43, sorry. I'll just select that and type 20, and that should make it slightly wider. I can also do the same with rows. I'll just select row 1, which has already been adjusted for height. I can either go on the row between the two row selectors here, left click and drag it down or up as I need to. I don't want it too narrow, otherwise I'm going to be hiding text like so. Okay, I'll just bring that back down. But I can right click on the row selector and go row height. At the moment it's 60.75. I'll just select that and make it a little bit larger at 65, and then go OK. I can also adjust row and column heights by using a command on the ribbon here within the cells here. If I click the format down here, I can adjust the row height or auto fit row height. I'm just going to try that and see how that looks. It's only adjusted it slightly. I've only a row selected here, so I really want to select a column before I do anything with that. So let's do that. I'll select column A. So I'll go format, and I'll go auto fit column. This should make the column a little bit narrower, like so. And I have other options for default width, which is at the moment it's 8.43, but I could change that to whatever I wanted. If you're never sure of a row height to change, if I'll just select the row here and I'll just go adjust row height, it gives you a number, an amount on what the row height is at the moment. So just be aware that 18 is a common row height, but if I wanted to change just this one row to say 24, okay, just that row would be adjusted. Now you'll notice here that these are not in line here. We're going to come to that in a moment. That's to do with the alignment. Okay, I'll just bring the row 7 for Brussels back to normal. Okay, I created an action there, so to undo it I can just go Control and Z. That brings me back to normal. Okay, as I was saying here, as you were able to see there, that the contracts weren't in line with the average contracts. I'll just widen, or sorry, adjust the height there again to show you what I mean. See how these are different. Okay, I'm just going to select row 7 again here. This is to do with the alignments at the top here. Okay, I can middle align, left align, right align, center the content, At the moment we've got a mixture here, so I'm just going to go center to all of them. That brings everything into the center. It doesn't work for everything, I know. And we'll go align left here, see what that does. All the figures are aligned to the left. And now I'll hit my middle align, and that should line everything up on the same level. Okay. By default, numbers would be right aligned. However, in most of these columns here, they're centered or indented. Okay, I'll just bring all these back to right align and show you what I mean. So I'll right align those right. Okay, except this one, which was centered. Now, what was going on there is you've got an indent in the rest of these. So we'll just look at indents now. So we'll just go back to this cell and see what's going on with these cells here. I'll just right click and go to Format Cells. This is another way of getting to the alignment. Okay, I'll just go to alignment here. And you can see that it's got a horizontal right indent. Okay, I've got various options here. These take a little practice just to get used to. I'm just going to go with center for the moment and see what happens. And go OK. Okay, that's brought that back similar to row 7. So I'll select all of those and go back to my Format Cells. And alignment we said was center. Okay, and just go OK to that. Now they're all centered. Indent just means that you're pushing the text to the left or to the right. Okay, so we'll just fix these. Right click, Format Cells. Notice we've got some of our options here as well here for increased decimal, etc. and the number format. Okay, I'm just going to go to the Format Cells dialog box and we'll say horizontal center. And here's where we could change the indent if we wish to. I'll just go OK to that, and that should all bring them back the same. Okay, let's bring row 7 back to the rest of the row heights here. I'll just see what London row height is here. That's 18. So I'll just select row 7 and bring that back to 18. Okay, and now they're all standard. Okay, I've just moved to another worksheet here and just typed into cell A1 the word cell alignment, but you'll notice that the end of the word alignment is running into column B. It's not really in column B, it's just running over into column B. However, I can go to wrap text here, click that, and that will align everything into that particular column. However, there is a problem though if I reduce the column width like so, it breaks the word up. So I'll just Control Z to undo that. Now I just want to make a nice big cell here, so I'm just going to widen the column here. The row height is good. Okay, now I can go to alignment. I can either go to alignment settings here, or I can use the orientation here. Let's just experiment with these. These can be quite fun. Like so. Angle clockwise. Vertical text. Oh, I don't like that. Okay, rotate text up. Like so. That's very useful. Rotate text down. Okay, I just need to give the row height a little more there. Should do it. Okay, and then I can actually format the alignment in more detail here by degrees of a circle. Okay, I'll go to let's go to 45. I'll just go down the scale here to 45 degrees and then go OK. and that cell's text is aligned at 45 degrees. Another thing which is very useful is merge and center. I'm just going to bring my alignment back here to normal. I go in format, cell alignment. I could have also cleared the formatting. Okay, in fact I'll do it that way. I'll go clear formats, and that brings me back to default. Now let's just narrow this down a little bit more again. It's possible to merge cells. Okay, so for example I can select A1, B1 and C1. Let's take in D1 as well, why not? And just click on the merge and center. Now that's all one cell. Be careful with this option though, it can make it difficult to bring in columns afterwards. Okay, we've got other merge and center options here like merge across. Okay, we're already merging center, and we can just go unmerge cells as well. Brings me back to where I was. Okay, I'll just clear the formatting there again. And we're back to where we started. And that's cell alignment. Okay, I'm just going to go back to number formats for currency. I'm just going to select the contract values here, select all of those. Okay, I'm not going to work on a general format here, but I'll go to currency. All I have to do is click on currency there, and if I want to take out the decimal places I can by decreasing the decimal here, like so. Suppose I wanted a different currency other than euro. If I go to currency here, it looks like my only option is euro, but if I go to more number formats, okay, I can choose from a variety of symbols here. Okay, I can scroll down here, we've got pretty much everything in the world here. Okay, I'll just want, let's see, we've got US dollar in here somewhere. That will do. Dollar English United States. Go OK. And then OK to that. Now we're talking dollars. There are a number of things you can do to enhance your table or worksheet. I'm just going to select all the data here. Okay, I'm going to leave out that column H for the moment. I can put borders in here. Personally, I think it's better to go down to the more borders section. I think you're more control here. What you need to do is first of all select your border. I'm actually going to go for a double line border for the outside, and I'll just change that to a dark blue. Okay, and that's my outline. Then I'll choose a thinner line for the inside cells, so I'll choose that. And we'll give that a slightly different blue, maybe a lighter blue, and then just choose inside. Then I go OK to that and deselect. Now my table's got some basic borders around it, and there's lots more experimenting you could do with the borders. As we've already seen, I'll just select the top row here. We can add fill colors or shading by clicking the down arrow here and choosing a fill color. I'll go for a green there, deselect, and as we've already seen as well, we can also change the font color. The reason it has red underneath it at the moment is that's because that was the last color that I chose, so if I wanted red again I just hit the A, but I want a dark blue. That should do it, blue grey, that'll do it. And I'll just make them bold to highlight them a bit more. Okay, and I'll increase the font to about 14, and I'll go wrap text. Okay, with these cells here, A1 and B1, I think B1 and C1, and probably, yes, all the rest of them there could be right aligned, like so. And deselect to show that. If I wanted to take the borders out again, I'll just select the whole of the table there, and I can just quickly go up to the borders here and choose no border, and I'm back to my table without any borders. I can also use cell styles. I'll just use the headings here for the moment, and then go up to cell styles here, and I can choose from a number of different styles here. Just float your mouse over them and it will give you a preview of them, like so. Or I could format as a table. Actually, before I want to do that, I want to select the whole of the table, so I'll select everything here and then go format as table, choose a style. These don't preview, I'll just click on that, see, yes, this is the data for my table, and my table has headers, that's row 1, so I'll go OK. OK, and that's fine, and it's had some filters in here which we'll be looking at later. Deselect to show that data. And that's table styles. There are also document themes that you can use for your style or how you want to set your fonts, etc. You can change colors here, change the fonts that you want, and change any effects. This is really a matter of personal taste. I just prefer to stick with the standard Office theme. I know I should get out more, but anyway, that's something you can try for yourself later on. And here's the exercise that goes with this module, formatting worksheets. You have 3 worksheets here. The first one is data. This is the one you can work on and practice with. If you go to the second worksheet, here are the questions. I'll just leave them on screen there for a moment. And then the third worksheet then is the solutions, or how it should look in the end. Okay, and of course you can play around with it, make changes to it yourself, get practice with borders and colours and styles. And here's a recap of what we've covered in this module. Thanks very much for watching.